Sammy Palumbo was living a great life. She selected varsity cheerleader when she was a freshman in high school. She took college courses when she was a sophomore, and she was crowned Miss California a junior national teenager as a junior. But in a split second, a car crash changed her life. The paramedics didn't expect her to survive the ride to the hospital, but she did survive, and for weeks she lay unresponsive to any stimulation. And eventually this girl, who's from California, ended up in my hometown, Lincoln, Nebraska, almost in my backyard. And somehow she managed to pull her life together. She almost lost half of her face through this accident when a post came through the windshield and broke multiple bones and caused severe trauma to her brain. She underwent rehabilitation at Casa Colina in Palo Alto, California. She came to Lincoln to meet with Dr. Susan Fager, and Dr. Fager helped her develop a palatal lift that would help her better articulate the words. Then there's Ty Hockett. He was a high school student in Kansas. He's riding down a road and his truck hit a pothole, and the next thing he knew, his life had changed too. The truck rolled, broke his neck, and he was paralyzed from the neck down. But from the accident site in rural Kansas, he came to my hometown, Lincoln, and into my backyard, and he learned to live his life again.
Hi, my name's Ty Hockett. That's me there on the hand cycle. See, I'm a C5 quadriplegic, and along with my dad Chris, and my sister Abby, and my wife Courtney, I'm going to try to accomplish one of the most difficult things I've ever done. Go hiking out there.
Right up on top by that other so that's where we're going.
Okay.
We're tracking him up that hill.
That's what you need to be filming.
I had an awful fever.
Brandon and Tiffany Verzel were late to work one April morning about 4 years ago because their 14-month-old daughter, this is Alexis, she had just learned how to run, and they were watching her run around the daycare center. They were so excited to watch her develop. But later that day, their life changed when they got a call from the hospital that said their daughter had been admitted and she was in very critical condition. Alexis suffered severe traumatic brain injury at her daycare center, and hope seemed lost when after just 2 weeks, Brandon and Tiffany said that they could take this little girl home, but she couldn't see. She had no response to any stimulation. But just a couple of weeks ago at TEDxLincoln, I watched this little girl walk into the studio and hug her mommy again. This little girl, just like thousands of others from around the country, ended up in my backyard in Lincoln, Nebraska.
So, Alexis is the little girl who was never going to talk again. She was, if she did talk, she was never going to talk in a sentence. She was never going to walk again. And she was never going to go to school. She wasn't going to be able to breathe on her own. And she wasn't going to be able to see. And so that is the little girl that I want to introduce you today. She got to take a little bit of time out of recess and lunch to be with us all. Can you wave?
For years, I drove by Madonna Rehabilitation Hospital, and I had no idea of the miracles that were taking place there. It's a rather nondescript facility in my hometown, and over those same years that I was driving by, not even thinking about this place, There were thousands upon thousands of people whose lives were changed. I've just told you about 3 of those stories today. They came with incredibly debilitating injuries and lives that had been changed in a split second, and Madonna gave them a second chance. Well, I finally have discovered this place called Madonna, where hope, nurture, passion, and work go together to pull together shattered lives. And I encourage you to look for discoveries in your own backyard, places that are doing things that are wonderful that you may not know about. As I said, I've driven by Madonna for 33 years and never gave much thought about this place that was founded in 1958 by the Sisters of Mercy from up in South Dakota. Well, my adventure has been one of discovery. After I discovered Madonna, I visited and toured the facility. I went and talked with some of the staff. I spent a long time on their website learning about them and watching a lot of the videos. But I've learned 2 things in this adventure in my life that's related to TED. First, as I used to tell my boys when they were growing up and we'd drive across the country, look out the window. There's something out there you need to discover. And second, in just a second, your life can change. And if it does, there are people like the wonderful people at Madonna that can give you a second chance at life. Well, that's my voyage of discovery in my backyard in Lincoln, Nebraska. I hope you'll take a similar voyage soon.